At Har Sinai, the Jewish nation we get our ksuba. Yisrael, the ultimate relationship. Yisrael, the Jewish people, the Torah, and Hashem, we become one. This relationship has a home. There's a ksuba. There's got to be a bias. The bias is called Beis Hamikdash. And that's where we felt the love between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We knew with every fiber of our being that Hashem loved us and was infatuated with us. And that no matter what situation He put us through here in our lives, it was given to us by someone who loves us and believes in us and knows we can surpass the challenge. And we don't have that bias anymore. And we can't see and feel that relationship like that anymore. And we cry. But you know what else we cry about? Remember at that relationship when we got to Ksuba, we went wholeheartedly. It was Ki'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. Ve'ichin Shom Yisrael neged a heart, the entire nation Ki'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. We were one. We were one. We were united. And when we left the bias, it's not that we're crying just because we left the bias. The reason why we were out of the bias is because we were already in organ failure. The kidney's not talking to the lungs. The liver's not talking to the heart. And the body can't function that way. And the relationship doesn't work with a dysfunctional body. When someone's sick, sometimes they have to leave the house for their own betterment. They go to the hospital or whatever it is, and they can't be with that spouse. So they have to go to a treatment, and they have to go to whatever it is. There has to be that time of separation. And during the separation of the relationship between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was already, before the bias was already destroyed, we were already broken at risk of organ failure because the different factions won't communicate. So yes, today we cry, and perhaps the nervous in this system, the heart in this system, cry because we know what we're crying about. We're missing that bias. But there are millions of others, of our brothers and sisters, our flesh and blood, that don't even know that they're missing something that they should be yearning for today. There's so many of our brothers, the miscommunication is crazier now than perhaps ever. Factions not talking to each other. Satmar Rebbe said one of the things that, or Klausenberger Rebbe said, one of the things he missed about the Holocaust is when they had to go on these death marches. Everyone was clean shaven. They shaved everyone's hair. I was a Rebbe. I held the arm of another Jew. I don't even know if he ever kept Shabbos in his life or ate kosher. But it didn't matter because we were all Jews and we were all one, going through what we were going through. So yes, every once in a while, Avinu of Harachamon, who loves us unconditionally and never ever has given up on us, and the proof is that He keeps us on life support and He keeps shocking us with those paddles of the defibrillator, trying to shock the system back into motion. And every once in a while we get that shock in the form of terrorism, war, Corona, it's catastrophes like Meirona or Carlene or Miami. And we get the shock and the electricity is pumping through the body called Klal Yisrael. And all of a sudden the limbs start talking to each other and the chesed is unparalleled. It is amazing what we can do under that electricity. But then the electricity starts winding down, and the shock waves. If you shock that person whose heart isn't working, you give him a shock for a couple of seconds, and then you leave go. If you keep shocking, that's also no good. So the shock goes away. And Hashem says, okay, maybe this time we shock them in the limbs, and hopefully this time the body is going to be working together again. Ki ish echad b'lev echad as one. It's the way it's supposed to be. And I can finally bring them home to the bayis. But then, as the electricity starts sithering away, we go back into the failure. This one has his shita, that one has that shita, and they can't communicate. And the separation between the miscommunication in the limbs, and the separation between us and who we're supposed to be with HaKadosh Baruch Hu continues. And the bayis is still empty, and we still can't go home because we're still in treatment, and we're still on life support, and we're still getting electrified in the hope that maybe this time it'll work. Yet here we are today, and we cry because the pain of organ failure is so great, and the pain of just not being able to be at home with and feel and know. And again, the fact that we go through so many challenges over the years is the proof that He loves us unconditionally and never has given up on us, because if He did, it would be the end. The fact that He keeps electrifying us to get the system going and working together again is proof how much He loves us and is waiting for us to just communicate and wake up so I can take you home from that dumb hospital and bring you home to the bayis where you belong. And we cry because we're still here. And we haven't gotten through the door yet. And for the millions who don't even know that there's something that they should be crying for, Al Eile Ani Bechia.